our second aspect of lecture this afternoon. So there are so many things to learn. I've done the introduction already. This time around, we are going deeper into the filter function. And the first thing, if you want to filter, which is one of the important data analysis skills that you need, is to be able to filter data to the one you need. Because you always have more than enough data to work with, but it's not all the entire data you need. So the first thing is to go to your data and then click on the filter icon, and then you press the filter. So automatically you see this drop down kind of a thing. And so there are so many things you could do there. The first thing that we'll learn today is, if, for example, you are looking for a particular employee ID. So, you apply filter on all this data. Let's say you want to just extract this ID 1995. So if you remember the ID you want to extract, you can come here and just type it. It will filter it to that particular ID, and then you press OK. And that's what you have. You have two of those, because I duplicated them. But all the same, you get the point. Now, the other thing is that, let's say you want to also extract the additional ID 10067. So you also type it 1067. So when you type it, but you want it to be added once you've already filtered, please, you just click on this Add to Current Selection, and then we'll have these three together. Now, if you only want to only have one, so let's say 1196, that's the only one you want to see, just type 1196 and then press OK. That will be the only one that will be filtered. It's as simple as that. So this is one way to also filter a lot of data that you don't want to go one by one and be looking for. So now, the other thing you could also do is that you could filter based on anything. So we've done an example. Maybe you want to only see those in the HR department. So all you need to do is, the first thing is just select everything and then select the HR. And then we see only the data for HR. So let me zoom in. So just like we said. And then there are other things you could also do. So to remove the filter, just clear the filter from here. The other thing you could also do is that, let's say, for example, you want to find a range based on a function. Let's say here we have the pay rate. In this pay rate, you want to only extract anybody that is any below £13 an hour. Anybody any below £13 an hour. Maybe that's the filter that you want. So you click on this and then click on number filters. In the number filters, you see less than. Just click on less than and then type the 13. So what it does is that it will return all the results of individuals any less than £13 an hour. And that's what you have here. You can see everybody here is any below £13 an hour. So that's one way you could do it. There are so many things you could do. You could also find between. So maybe you want to find all the numbers, everybody any between £12 an hour and £15 an hour. That's what you want. So you can use the between. So those who are any from £12 to £15, you want to see their data only. That's what you do. So you press OK. And that's exactly what will come out at the end of the day. Now, remember I told you that typically what you could do, if you filter, maybe that's the information you need, you can now select everything. Remember to select, please remember white plus is for selection, highlighting. Always remember that rule. White plus is for highlighting, so you select everything. And then you right click and you copy. It's very simple. You right click, you copy and you paste it to wherever you want to paste it and do that. But sometimes you may not want it that way. So I'll just show you an example. So let's say, for example, we want only people in building 2. So maybe you just want all the employee in building, let's say 2. So if you quickly want to know how many of them, just select this and then check the status bar. You see that it's 12 of them. Can you see my status bar? So it normally automatically calculates the number of items you've selected, which is 12. So now it may be that you don't want to be copying and pasting. It's a waste of time. You don't want to copy and paste. You just want this entire data here. Let's say you just want this entire data. So one way to do that, which is what I want to show you, is I'll create a new cell. And then what I want is that I want this. So all I need to do is, everybody in building 2 is what I want. So all I'll do is I'll use the filter function to do that. So how do you do? I'll go over the filter function again. Please understand the rule about the filter function. Click on the function. That's the starting point, just to make life easier for you. And then type the filter. The filter, some of you, if you don't see the filter, I think it's normally for Excel 2019 and above that has the filter function. Just click go, select it, and press OK. So now, what is the array? So the array is the entire array. So select the entire array. To the end, select the entire array. The white plus is used for highlighting. Now, what do you want to include? Come here. What you want to include is, that inclusion is which column do you want to filter by? So we want to filter by this column. So what do? We select the entire column. This is what we want. We select the entire column. Then we press is equal to building 1. I think, is it building 1 or building 2? Just type building 2. So that's, we want to extract only those in building 2. And if it is empty, you should just put a dash. And that's it. So we select the entire array that I want to extract. We only need those who are in building 2. And then we click OK. And then it returns the entire data. As simple as that. And so the other thing you could also do is just simply come here and copy the header, come back here and paste it. And that's it. You've extracted the data you need. So the other options you have is you could come here, filter it. So to building 2 only, and then copy it. So that's another option you have. But in most cases, formula just make life easier for you anyway. So if you come here and paste it, it's the same data. And that's exactly what you can. So it now depends on which one is convenient for you. You just apply it. So that's filter function. And so many other things you could do with it. So you can play around the filter function. You can clear it. I've cleared it. And then there are so many things you could do with the filter function. So many. By the time you come here, there's a lot. You could look at the top 10, average, below average, or so many things. Just depend on what is the requirement. It's a very good and handy stuff to do. And then the other thing, so I'll just... So the other thing I want to teach is the drop down. I've done an introduction to drop down. The other thing I want to teach is the drop down. So drop down is when you want to avoid, people make mistake typing. For example, people make mistake about the Simon Coffee library. Some people just write FEB, they skip this first R. So what you want is, you don't want people to be manually typing things because they create issues. So what you could do is you could create a list and then import that list into a drop down. So how do you do that? Click on the cell you want to create the drop down list on, and then go to data and click on data validation. When you click on data validation, please select list. So you select list, and then if you ask you for source, please click on the source and just select the entire data that you want to be in that list. And then you press OK. And then it will automatically populate it for you here. So you can always select it, and it will always work as you want it. So it will always work as you want it. Now, most times we don't use it like that. So drop down is not useful. You want, when you create a drop down, something should appear somewhere. So the simplest example is that we want to create so that when we choose August, we should see 65,342. And so the most important function, which is the one I want us to know today, is VLOOKUP. I'll simply go through VLOOKUP as a top-down introduction. So what you need to do is select this cell, click on functions. So I always start with this before I start going advanced. So today I just want to make life easier. Type VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP is always you to look for. So it's here already. So select it and press OK. So now VLOOKUP has 4 sections. So the lookup value is what you want to look for that you want to return the result. What we want to look for is August. Anything that is here is what we are looking for. So you select it. And then the table array. The table array is always the entire table that contains both the lookup and the value you want to return. Please always remember this rule. I will keep emphasizing it as time goes on. Your lookup value must exist in the first column of your array. I repeat again, your lookup value must always exist in the first column of your array. So in this case, we start from the first column of the array and we select everything here. And then after you select the table array, the entire, please always ensure you select the entire table array. It doesn't matter whether it contains the column you need or not. It doesn't matter. But ensure you select all the entire table array. And then the next thing is, in that array that you've selected, in which column is the data you are looking for? And in this case, if you check, we selected this entire array, and the data we are looking for is in the third column. So this is the first column, this is the second column, this is the third column. So the data that I want to return is in the third column. So you just type the third column, 3. And then the range lookup means that it should match exactly as we type it. So if it's August here, it should match exactly the August as we typed it. So that's why it's called the exact match. And in that case, you type false. False means that it should be an exact match. And that's exactly what it's going to give you. And then the good thing about this site I'm using is that you automatically see your result. So you know what you are looking for. So you already told me that if I press OK on this formula, this is the result I'm going to get, 65,342, which is exactly what I want. And then you press OK, and that's what it will give you. Now, the good thing about it is that when you come here and you select any other day, let's say December, it changes to 50,380. So in that case, you turn Excel into a dynamic information extraction, in which you just change whatever data you want here, and then it will return the value you want. You see 43,630. Very dynamic. So there are so many more we could do, but this, just like I always say, today is just introduction. Today is just introduction. And then we go to the next one, which is transpose. So sometimes you have a data like this, but you don't want it in this format. So you want it such that here, for example, you see the header is on the horizontal, but you want the header to be on the vertical. So how do you do it? So there are 2 ways to go about it. There's the formula way and there's the manual way. I'll start with the manual. So when you have this, I want to rearrange it such that the columns become the row and the row becomes the column. Just select the entire column, copy it, then come here, and then right click. And then here, you see here that says transpose. And that's it. I've transposed it. Now you see that the student ID, class name, first name, and all that is now on the vertical axis. And then the data that we need is on the horizontal axis. So that's one way to actually do it. Now there is a formula way. The formula way is a bit tricky, and I've just explained how you can do it. What you need to do is that you identify how many rows and how many columns you have. So if you check here, if you check this, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. And where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 rows. So because if you want to transpose anything, the column will become the row and the row will become the column. So in this case, because we want to transpose this, then we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 columns, 8 rows. Now, if you want to transpose this, it will now become 8 columns and 6 rows. So all you need to do is come here, select 8 columns. So the easiest way to know if you selected it correctly, please always look at it. As I select my cells, look at here to give you the idea. So as I move the selection, you see that it changes from, so I'll tell you as I'm doing that. So it's telling me 1 row, 2 columns. Now it's telling me 2 rows, 8 columns. Then I go back, go down until I see 6 rows, 8 columns. So I have 6 rows, 8 columns now. And then at that place, I type equals to, and then I type transpose. Just type transpose and then select this data. Now, close the bracket and then press Control Shift plus Enter. Control Shift plus Enter, and it populates the data for you. As simple as that. And it gives you the same result. So that's the formula way to implement the same thing. So that's the formula way to implement the same thing. And so I'll repeat again. If you want to transpose this data, first of all, identify how many rows and columns. It's already telling me that it's 8 rows, 6 columns. If you just check this column here, it tells you how many, the number of rows and columns you've highlighted. Please always check this. So I select it again. It's telling me 8 rows, 6 columns. So if I want to transpose it, it will be 6 rows, 8 columns. So I just come here, select 6 rows, and then 8 columns. So I've select 6 rows, 8 columns. And then I simply type equals to, then I type transpose, and then select the entire data that I want, close the bracket, and then press Control, Shift button, plus Enter, and it gives me the data I want. Very simple and easy. So that's the way we usually do it. Now, so that's how we transpose data. It's a very simple, the rows become column and the column becomes rows. Now, there are times where you have duplicate data. So for example, this is a year column. If you select year 1969, there's a lot of duplicate data in 1969. But you also want the unique year. You want the unique year in this. So there are so many ways to do it. There are about 4 ways. But I'll give you the easiest way, which is using the pivot table. So I'll introduce you to pivot table today. So what we do is select this cell here, click on Insert, and click Pivot Table. So when you click Pivot Table, just go here to your duplicate data, select the entire duplicate data. So, you know, it takes time because this is 23,000. I think this is about 10,000 records. So what you need to do is press Control, Shift, and down arrow. Control, Shift, plus down arrow, you select everything together, which is 23,120. So rather than manually scrolling down, 23,120 records is a waste of time. So the easiest way, I'll go back again. The easiest way is if you go back to the top, which is what I want to teach you today. You select the first here, select any cell, go to Insert and click Pivot Table. So what I was trying to, So what I was trying to say the other time is you select the range. So when you are dealing with a large amount of data, you don't want to be scrolling manually. Just select the first data, press Control, Shift, and down arrow. Control, Shift, and down arrow. It automatically select the 23,120 data very fast for you under 5 seconds. And then when you're done with that, just press OK. And then when you press OK, click on year, and then drag it to row. And then automatically, this is what you have. And here, remove this field. And that's what we have. So we have the particular year automatically arranged in alphabetical order and remove any duplicate from your data. So that's one way to actually do that. The other way you could also do that is you could use the unique function. So it's not everybody that has the unique function. So it's not everybody that has the unique function. So there, I'll just teach you the third ways we could do it. So the second way is select the entire data. Control C, I've selected already. Select it. Paste it here, for example. So now, what you need to do is filter that data. Filter it first. Then go to select everything. Control Shift plus down arrow. Select everything at once. Come here and just click Remove Duplicates. And then here it will ask you whether your data has header. Yes, it has header. And then press OK. And then you see automatically it has removed all the duplicates. So the other thing you could do is you could sort it from smallest to highest in ascending order, and then it gives you the same result. So to just confirm what I've just done, so I'm going to delete it. You come here, paste everything, select the entire data, come here, paste everything here, and then remove duplicate. So what you need to do is just continue with the current selection and then remove duplicate. And then it has header, yes, okay. And then here, filter, and then sort it in ascending order. And you see, it's the same result. It's the same result. So that's another way to do it. The final way to do it for today is you could use what we call the unique. You could use the unique function. So how do we do it? We say equals to unique. So the easiest way, let me not go through the advanced way. Click on this, type unique. So unique function in Excel also does the same thing. Click go, you see the unique function, press OK. So select the array and then come here, select the entire array of data. And then by column. So by column means compare rows against each other and return the unique row. So that one you say false. You type false. And then exactly once is optional. So it's saying it's a logical value, return rows or column that occur exactly once from the array. You press true. And that's it. And then it gives you what you want. So now sometimes it says return all distinct rows or columns from the array. You type false. It gives you what you want. So the good thing about it is that immediately you type the correct function, you automatically see your result here. And then when you are done with that, you press OK. And it gives you the same result. Now, you can apply the filter again and it gives you whatever you want. So you come here, filter, and then sort from smallest to largest. Just continue with the current selection, and then it gives you the same result. So if you check all the end, the three different methods gives us the same result. So now it's not left to use which one you think is the easiest way to implement that. And then you simply use that method. And that's exactly how we do that. So for today's class, I'll just end with sort and find. We've done sort and find already. Sort and find is where you want to arrange something in whatever order you want to do it. So for example, you want to sort this. The easiest way is just to click on the, for example, you want to sort in alphabetical order. Just click sort A to Z and it will automatically sort it for you. Then the other thing is how to find a particular data you want. So here, if you check, this is 23,000 records. So you have 23,119 records here. But let's say you are looking for a particular record and you don't want to be scrolling up and down. The easiest way is to use the find. So to find is very easy. Let's say we just want to find the earthquake ID, let's say 19001, for example. All you need to do is select the cell and then go to home and click on find. So you see find here, click on find and then type the particular ID you want, 19001. And then click find next. It will automatically take you there very fast. And then this is exactly what we want. You can use it to find a name, you can use it to find anything. Whenever you have a large amount of data, I don't want to be scrolling line by line manually. The find can actually help you to do it. And of course, we already said that another better approach is to type it inside a filter function. So you type the filter function, and then you type the 19001. And then it will automatically filter it for you. And then press OK. And then you get what you want. And with that, we come to the end of our lecture today. So this is just a gentle introduction to Excel. A gentle introduction to Excel. So we just cover like 5% of what Excel is all about. But I believe some of you are seeing it for the first time. But it's just 5% of what we learn. And that's why I call it a Gen 2 introduction. And one bonus, which I will give you guys today. So I remove the filter. So which is a takeaway also for today, which will be very useful anytime you are working with Excel. So anytime you are working with Excel and you select a particular amount range of data. So I just want to use an example. So whenever you select any data range in Excel, 3 results Excel will automatically give you. 3 results. And I just want to show you one of it. So whenever, let's say you select this entire data here, whenever you select an entire data that is numerical in nature in Excel, Excel will automatically calculate the average. Can you see? It will automatically calculate the average for you. The number of data you selected, the minimum, the maximum, and the sum. Typically, it doesn't give you all these 3. So how do you do it? So let me say, come here. The ones you always see, so is this. If you do it yourself now, this you only see these 3. Automatically, Excel by default will give you the average of the data you've selected, the number of data you've selected, and the sum of that data. Now, depending on what you work with in Excel, you can increase it. In this case, that's exactly what I did. I want the minimum, I want the maximum too. And then I have 5. But if you try it yourself, you only see 3. So anytime you select any data in Excel, that is number, it's entirely numbers, Excel will automatically give you the average, the count, and the sum automatically. You can try it now. That's exactly what it gives you. The minimum and maximum is when you want it. But typically, this is what you get anytime you highlight any data in Excel. And it's very useful for you to always have a rough idea of what you've selected in Excel. Please take note, it always exists in the status bar, and it will automatically show it anytime. So when you select anything that is not numerical in nature, is a mixture, it will only count. So let's say, for example, you are dealing with building. Building will only be count. And that's what you see. It tells me that I've selected 37 items. But if it's number, it's entirely number, it will calculate the minimum, the average, the count, and the sum. So it's telling me the average is 143.9, the count is 37, and the sum is 5,326. Please, very important, and it's very useful whenever you're working with Excel. At this point, I'm going to stop. So every time we come for our lecture, there's always a key takeaway that you can always use. The another key takeaway that we learned today is that anytime you want to quickly select a range of data, select the first cell, press Ctrl, Shift, and the down arrow, you select everything at once for you. And then if you press Ctrl, Shift, plus right arrow, you select the ones horizontally. So it's very fast and very accurate. And then the last thing we learned today is that whenever you want to select any data in Excel, the white plus is used to select data or highlight data, the white plus. And then if you want to apply formula, you use the black plus, We'll learn more of that as time goes on. At this point, I want to end the lecture today and ask if there's any other question. Thank you.